Go yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Disney, obviously, they have a problem on their hands because Rachel Zegler has not just made these recent comments about Donald Trump, which she's walking.
Rachel Zegler has done everything possible to make Disney regret casting her as Snow White, and it looks like she succeeded. Disney is now actively avoiding her. But she's not the only problem. Even Disney CEO Bob Iger has come under fire, with Elon Musk himself calling him out for using Disney to push what he calls the woke mind virus. Musk has made it clear he's on a mission to destroy it. But before we get into how Musk completely tore into Iger, let's break down how Rachel Zegler, Bob Iger's own choice, single-handedly doomed the $400 million Snow White project. From the start, Zegler has been controversial from the moment she was cast. Instead of making headlines as a talented actress landing an iconic role, she became the center of online outrage. Critics were quick to point out that she didn't match the traditional image of Snow White, arguing that she wasn't white as snow. Rather than navigating the backlash carefully, Zegler leaned into the controversy. In an interview with Variety, she addressed the criticism saying, "I was trending for days because people were angry." Instead of winning over fans, she doubled down, framing Snow White as something completely different from the original and alienating the very audience Disney needed. And that was the beginning of the end. Rachel Zegler positioned herself as a beloved figure in Spanish-speaking cultures, calling it an honor to represent Latina princesses. While some praised her for breaking boundaries, others felt she was disrespecting the legacy of Snow White. Unlike many Hollywood stars, Zegler isn't the polished, media-trained actress studios usually present. She's blunt, real, and unfiltered, a quality that can be refreshing at times. For instance, when she joked about taking a role in Shazam 2 simply because she needed a job, some fans found her honesty relatable. But keeping it too real isn't always a winning strategy, and nowhere was that more apparent than during the Snow White press tour. During one interview, Zegler admitted that she was scared of the original 1937 Snow White movie and had only watched it once. Fair enough. Not everyone loves vintage animation. She dismissed the classic story, claiming the new version wouldn't be about Snow White waiting for a prince, but instead focusing on her ambitions as a leader. On paper, that sounds empowering, but things took a sharp turn when she joked at the D23 Expo that the prince was literally stalking Snow White and hinted that his scenes might be cut altogether. That's when the backlash erupted. What started as criticism of her take on Snow White quickly snowballed into a larger conversation about Disney's modernization of classic fairy tales, and Zegler found herself at the center of it all. Now, the big question remains, was this just a PR blunder? Or did Zegler single-handedly sink Snow White before it even hit theaters?
Raising questions about what Disney could do next with all this controversy surrounding the star of the show, Snow White adaptation, and spending a whopping, $270 million.
But first, Rachel Zegler's blunt remarks about Snow White might have seemed like harmless humor, but when TikTok resurfaced those interviews, the internet exploded with outrage. Suddenly, Zegler wasn't just another actress. Promoting a movie, she was accused of sabotaging her own film before it even hit theaters. On one side, Disney fans and anti-woke critics were furious. They called Zegler a PR disaster, claiming she mocked the original Snow White and alienated the fan base. A viral TikTok rant slammed her remarks about classic Disney princesses, stating, "Not every woman wants to be a leader, and that's okay." Another critic argued that Disney's obsession with turning every princess into an action hero was tired and predictable. Meanwhile, some took direct aim at Zegler herself, calling her off-putting and blaming her for the movie's poor reception. Not everyone was against her, though. Some fans rushed to Zegler's defense, calling out what they saw as a double standard in how female celebrities are criticized. Writer and actress Francesca Ramsey responded to critics, saying, "Your little TikTok with millions of views isn't going to take away her talent or her role." As for Rachel, she didn't directly address the backlash. Instead, she tweeted out a vague message: "Be kind and treat each other with patience." But ironically, patience is something she herself seems to lack, a trait that may have cost Disney millions in bad publicity. At its core, this entire drama says more about internet culture than it does about Rachel Zegler or Snow White. Today's audiences are hyper-aware of messaging and entertainment. They no longer accept Hollywood narratives at face value, and even A-list actors are held accountable if they push an agenda that doesn't resonate. But just as the controversy peaked, Elon Musk entered the conversation, and things got even more explosive.
Longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about.
Elon Musk has never been one to back down from a fight, and his latest standoff with advertisers, especially Disney, is no exception. It all started when major corporations, unhappy with the direction of X, formerly Twitter, threatened to pull their ad revenue unless Musk changed his approach. But instead of caving in, Musk doubled down. His message? If advertisers think they can control speech by waving their checkbooks around, they can take their money elsewhere. For Musk, integrity matters more than profit. He's not just fighting for free speech, he's pushing back against corporate overreach and performative virtue signaling. And let's be real, Disney isn't exactly a moral authority these days. The company has been slammed for pandering to political trends while failing to capture the magic that once made it great. Musk's defiant stance reminds many of historical figures who refuse to stay silent in the face of pressure. He refuses to compromise his vision, even if it costs him billions. Some may call him reckless, but in reality, Musk is laser-focused on his mission. Whether it's Tesla, backing down to corporate pressure would have been the easiest and most profitable choice. But Musk's not in it for short-term gains. He's here to reshape industries, and that includes taking on what he calls the woke mind virus. The idea that ideological conformity is being forced into entertainment, business, and media at the expense of innovation and genuine creativity. While Musk stands firm, Disney finds itself struggling, not just against him, but against audiences who are fed up with their approach. Whether it's their recent string of box office flops, the backlash against Rachel Zegler's Snow White, or their broader attempts to reshape classic stories into modern political statements, the company is facing a reckoning, Musk refusing. To play their game is a challenge Disney never saw coming. Unlike other CEOs, he isn't worried about offending the wrong people or losing favor with corporations. He's willing to take a hit in the short term if it means preserving his vision for the long run. Musk's stand against Disney and major advertisers isn't just about one social media platform. It's about who controls the narrative. Will Disney continue doubling down on corporate activism, or will they finally realize that audiences want entertainment, not lectures? What do you think? Did Musk just deal a major blow to Bob Iger and Disney's so-called woke agenda? And is Rachel Zegler's Snow White destined to become one of Hollywood's biggest disasters? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on Hollywood, entertainment, and the biggest stories shaking up the industry.